Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest MyoMinds interview, where we speak about mental health within the gym, within sport, within athletes. Today, I'm very excited to introduce our latest guest, Thomas Davis, aka TD or TD Smash.
Yeah,
TD, how are you?
I'm doing all right, bro. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm really excited for this interview. I think it's going to be a really important kind of opening up conversation about mental health within the gym, especially for someone who's an elite athlete like yourself. And speaking of that, for the people listening who may not actually know about you, could you give us a brief interview about the kind of stuff you do within strength sports and just kind of everyday life?
I mean, I typically just compete in bench only. I am the sixth person to officially bench 700 pounds, and I'm the second youngest to do it. I've won 3 IPF titles before that, but I can't compete in IPF now because I take TRT, so there's no IPF anymore. But before that, I did get 3 world titles from the IPF. Oh yeah, man. I mean, and I'm hopefully going to be competing in my second full power meet here soon. So depending on this Corona
Yeah.
situation, we shall see. So
Yeah, yeah. For the people listening from England or from countries that don't use pounds, 700 pounds is 317.5 kilograms,
yeah,
which is it would be an impressive deadlift. Never mind bench press.
yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. I think I've seen the video because you put it on YouTube, didn't you? Of you bench
yeah,
pressing 700, and
yeah.
it looks like terrifying. Before we kind of get onto the mental health stuff, I just kind of want to ask you, like, what does it feel like to have that amount of weight? I'm sure you get asked this all the time, but it must be terrifying.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. Every time was different for me. So I've tried for 700 multiple times, and it's that it was that weight that just kept beating me and kept beating me until like the day of that meet, and I'm just like, I know for sure I got this, and I took it as my second attempt, and to be honest with you, and not trying to sound cocky, it felt lighter than it should have because I had just really pumped myself up for it. But man, just like the thought that I smoked a 700 pound bench was cool, you know. So, but I mean, other times it had been pretty heavy, so I couldn't get it up. But like at that moment, it was like, bam, like I got it. So it was
Yeah.
cool.
I think you have to have that kind of mental fortitude, don't you? You have to kind of get into that place of there's no doubt. Otherwise, you're not, especially when you get to those kind of numbers, you can't have doubt in your head. Otherwise, you're just not going to do it.
Exactly.
Mm. Okay, so kind of getting onto the bread and butter, as I'm sure you know, my Minds is all about kind of mental health, and we try and talk about it within the gym. And when I approached you, I asked if you'd be okay with talking about this kind of stuff, and you said you were open book. So,
Yeah.
um, from my personal experience in the gym, I think that although the environment tends to be a kind of like like macho man, like you don't have any feelings, etc. I think a lot of the people who are really into strength sports have had a history with mental health, or at least poor
Yeah.
mental health. Is
Yeah.
that the same with you?
Yeah, most definitely, and it's something I didn't realize I was really dealing with until later in life when I got older and I understood it more. But there was a reason why I grasped to, going to the gym all the time, and that was like my thing to just go ahead and go and because I'm feeling some type of way, I'll go to the gym,
Mm,
and I didn't know it was just really for my mental health. Like, and I didn't understand it, and I learned to love it. So, and now something good has come about it, you
yeah.
know.
Have you found since you've kind of revealed that to yourself, or you understand that that is the case, do you think that's helped with your health, like mental health?
A lot, a
Mm,
lot, yeah. Because I mean, to be to be completely blunt, like I used to be that kid that was always mad and angry, and I mean, it's sad to say, but especially as a young child and growing up in America and in the inner city so much, um, you see some things that you probably shouldn't have seen when you were younger, and your brain didn't process those things correctly. So I was going to funerals, I was seeing dead bodies and stuff like that, and it's just like I didn't know how to process that. So, and I'm talking about, when I say dead bodies, I mean outside the casket, like before, I've seen things like that, and it's just like, nah, I've got a wife now, and we've talked about these things. It's like, there's a reason why, like, you go through your anxiety and your depression, because you never processed all those things that you went through as a kid. So my way of processing it right now is the gym, and that's always been like my suppressor for the time being.
Yeah,
So
I think one of the issues that I personally find in fitness and within the gym and the gym community is that idea that people don't want to admit to mental health issues. Like, obviously you've been through some like seriously traumatic events, and it can still feel like it's like it's almost seen as a weakness for some people, and it can scare people off actually having that realization, or even if it's just owning up to it and being like, you know what, I am struggling with this, and that's all right. Like, you've been through some shit and you have to deal with it. And I think it's such a huge step. And someone like yourself, like a big guy who's pushing all these numbers, and it's like the alpha of the gym. I imagine, like 9 times out of 10, I imagine there's very few times where you're with people who are bigger than you.
unless Julius is at the gym
Oh
coming up
yeah,
here
of
to
course,
train
yeah. But still, I mean, we can say you're safely there's 2 alphas in the gym, but
yeah.
people hearing someone like yourself saying that kind of stuff, that can have such a big impact. So I think it's just really important that we talk about that. The fact that you kind of accepting that there's that issue has played that positive impact on you. I think that's a really important message. Yeah. So we were speaking about this a little bit beforehand, about the kind of the coronavirus and all this stuff going on. And I think you're in lockdown at the moment. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, for the time being, yeah.
Yeah. And so during this kind of whole situation, I know that a lot of people have struggled with the idea of having to make changes to their programs and, with their diet and recovery and things. And it's had some negative effects, and for some people it's had positive effects. But I'm interested, for one, have you had to make any changes over the past couple months, and has that affected you in any way?
When it first happened, it actually worked out for me, for the simple fact that, well, to start off, the 700 wouldn't have been official because we were going to do that in the animal cage. So, and that's at the Arnold. And when they canceled the expo, they still had the meets going on. So, I got a positive out of that, from that. I got my 700 from there. Around that time, my son was getting ready to get born. So, I had time off because of, COVID, and that I probably wouldn't have had that much time with him. So, but one thing that I will say, I am one of those people, I don't like to be in the house all day. I like to keep it moving and continue to do things. And so, like, I get to this like weird dark place sometimes because I've been in the house all day, and I'm just like, okay, like what is there to do? Like, I got to get out of here because my mind's like spinning and trying to think about things that I shouldn't think about. And, that's probably my downfall as far as this whole COVID thing. Otherwise, it's been good to me. So,
Yeah. So you've had some kind of positive effects and positive results from it.
Yeah.
But also, I think, and I just personally, I also have that kind of attitude about I always have to be doing something. I find it very difficult to sit down and not be working on something or not be progressing in some kind of way in my life. I have to have some kind of goal in mind, whether it's to do with fitness, or if it's to do with like my mind stuff, or if it's to do with my education and things like that. I'm always having to progress. Are you that kind of similar to what you're saying?
Very similar, yeah.
Yeah. It's I think often it's the fact that I feel personally that I have to kind of fill that void, or otherwise I'm going to have these kind of negative like ruminations, like these thoughts that keep spiraling around my head, and I have to kind of distract myself from them. And I think that's something that is commonplace in a lot of gym goers, and I think that can be the reason why people have this kind of addiction to the gym, or compulsive exercise, which can be positive and negative. But again, there can be positives out of the fact that taking up the gym when you're having issues is, there's lots of research that shows that exercise can help with mental health. But I
Yeah.
think there can be an issue when people overdo it or rely on it. Have you ever felt like you rely on the gym, or do
Yeah,
you
all the
feel like
time.
yeah?
All the time, and then that's what my wife's like. It's good that you go to the gym, but you also need to talk about things too.
Mm.
And I'm not gonna talk to my gym buddies about how I feel. Like I'd probably go see somebody to talk, to about that. But as far as the gym, that's just like me suppressing it for the time being, and then hopefully trying to think about it a little bit later. But
Yeah,
it does help me to calm down too, because I work myself so much that it's like I'm tired. I don't want to think about anything. I just want to go to sleep. So,
what is it you do for your day job?
I was a correctional officer for 5.5 years, and I quit that in February. And now I work for the school corporation out here. So
Oh,
I'm
okay.
like a campus security person. So I get to
Oh, wow.
walk around and hang out with kids and it's cool. So,
Yeah, I bet nothing kicks off when you're around.
oh no, well, the kids are good. So it's a cool gig. So.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Speaking about, because you mentioned there how you wouldn't share your kind of mental health stuff with your gym community, which I think is a fair point. And but I think the gym community can play another role. And something that I've seen in your videos, and maybe I'm just getting it from the videos, but you seem quite a community man within the gym. Like every video I see of you, you tend to be hugging people and giving people high fives and stuff.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah, does that
Yeah,
does
I love my people in the gym, man. And they're like family, but like you said, I know that they deal with their demons too.
Mm.
So I take myself as like the big brother of the group. So it's like you guys can come talk to me whenever you want, but me, I just kind of deal with it on my own as far
Yeah,
as when it comes to them.
yeah, and I think that's a important distinct like kind of distinguisher that some people can get the benefit out of talking to the big group and talking within the gym to their friends and have like someone like yourself have kind of a big brother, and then some people, if you found that you get better like improved benefits from talking to you like with your wife or with like a professional or something like that, then you can
Right,
use gym instead as a place where you can help others because of the stuff you've been through.
right.
Yeah. um so one kind of thing I wanted to ask as well is with kind of especially there's been with the COVID stuff at the moment, there's been all these kind of extra things, but as someone who is a committed strength athlete, and for people who might be listening to this interview who are people who want to be elite in powerlifting and strongman and any kind of strength sport, do you how do you cope with the kind of the normal adversities of life? So just it's, something coming up that means you might have to miss a session, or something that means you might struggle to hit a meal. Like how do you deal with those situations?
Make it up as best as you can.
Yeah.
Um, when everything was closed down, I still was able to go to my gym because it's a private gym, but because of the pandemic, I didn't want to bring it home to my wife and my kid and whatnot. So I personally, I got Josh Bryant. He's my coach from Jailhouse Strong, and I was doing like push-ups and stuff and body weight squats. I was still doing stuff calisthenics to kind of keep my body up.
Mm.
Like obviously the strength wasn't gonna be like pew, like it wasn't like me putting 600 pounds on the bar, but I was getting a lot of volume from the push-ups and body weight squats and planks and hitting my punching bag and walking. So I will still keep myself active so that when it is time to go back, I'm not completely slouched over.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
with the calisthenics, and my tendons are a lot stronger, so I did get a benefit out of that.
Mm. Did you find having to do calisthenic stuff because like you say, not putting 200 pounds or sorry 600 pounds onto a bar, um you're not going to be getting the strength benefits that you could be. Did that play in it like a toll on kind of like mentally? Did that play in your mind, or were you fine?
I enjoyed it. It was cool. It was nice to have a little switch up for me
Mm.
because I'm used to just going heavy, a lot, and having the calisthenics. Like I was able to like do it freely, and it didn't take as long for me to get my workouts in as if I was at the gym. So it was cool to get that good pump quickly, and knowing that I'm kind of doing a little bit of cardio, so it's healthy. So it was good for me. I enjoyed it.
And did you say Josh Bryant from JLR Strong, right?
Yep.
Did he like give you these calisthenic exercises, or did you kind of go off the cuff with this?
I did a little bit by myself, and then he seen me post videos, and then he was like, "All right, I got something for you." And so he sent me some stuff, and I'm like, "Damn, dude, you're a hole," but we're gonna get it done. So,
Well, I think because the reason I asked that was because I think a lot of people have struggled with the fact that they haven't been able to put a load of weight on the bar,
yeah,
kind of like mentally. And I think having a coach, having someone to kind of back you up when you are switching training, and having someone like Josh Bryan, who's kind of a well-established coach, and having him say, you know what, this will help. Like, you're going to get some. Do you think that played a toll?
yeah, big time. He definitely made it happen for me. So I was happy. I came back, and I don't think I lost too much of a lick. So it was back to it, because I kept the volume up, and doing all those push-ups and squats, and I kept myself active, and I wasn't. Don't get me wrong. There was times I was eating like a slouch, but for the most part, I did eat pretty healthy. So
that's good. That's good. I actually found, because I coach a couple athletes. I do like online stuff, and he and a couple. Most of the people that I coach, they haven't lost that much strength, which is surprising, because like you're saying, they haven't been putting weight on the bar, but we've just been having them. Like one of my guys, shout out to Asa, hi Asa. He's just been doing like strongman stuff. So he's been like lifting stones and like putting stones overhead and stuff. It's honestly is his Instagram feed's amazing, because you just see him like picking up these big rocks and putting them above head and stuff, and things like that. I think for one, it's in a positive way. It's given people that it's like a new way of training, and a new it's got people to learn new things. And I think for a lot of people as well, those people who struggled to not be in the gym, it's kind of forced people not to, and had to do something else. And I think you can actually get some positives out of that now, because you can come back to the gym and be like, right, you know what, I didn't go for 2 months, so this is now it's a bonus.
That's a big point right there. That's a big point.
Yeah, learned a lot. I think that's the it's easier said than done, but one of the the ways that your life is defined is how you react to the things that happen to you, aren't they? So yeah. You have these negative things, and it's like I say, it is harder sometimes it's easier said than done, should I say, but it's still it's an important factor that if you can find a positive out of a negative situation, it's going to have such a beneficial effect on how you move on from it.
Yes.
So in strength sports in general, I just want to kind of talk about just mental health within strength sports in general now, from your point of view. Strength sports require a lot of commitment. Obviously, you go in the gym a lot of days, pretty much 24/7, you're having to be eating and resting and thinking about, what you're doing. So both physically and mentally strenuous. What would you say? Give me one of the main positives of being a strength athlete, and one of the main negatives of being a strength athlete to do with mental health.
I think the best thing I can say about us being a strength athlete is that being a strength athlete, it helps you get over plateaus. And I feel like once you learn, if you can learn to do that with, whatever sport you're doing, you're able to do that and incorporate that with your life, with everything else. Because you got to think about it. There's people that have been stuck on benching 200 pounds for years, but once they get over that hump, it's like, bam, like the light hits, like, oh, I did something different, and now I can progress. So I think that's one of the biggest positives, learning how to get out of that plateau, and learning how to break through things and go through things.
So the physical aspect of the gym can turn into it can amplify and become kind of any part of your life.
Exactly. Negative, I say the negative part about it, and I understand what people, but sometimes they can't put their time into it, and then they don't get the results that they get. and it just takes them down lower. You know, I've been there. I've been there where it's like, dang, like I thought I did all I could, and you know, I didn't do well, and it just took me down a little bit. But I mean, then you quickly remember that you can go back at it again. It's not the end of the world, too. So, but that is one thing that I've dealt with. I'm like, dang, like I probably could have done way better than I did. Even though I trained hard and I did what I thought I was supposed to do, but it still brought me down because I didn't do well.
What would your advice be for someone who's listening to this, who feels like that, who feels like they aren't getting the results they thought they were going to be getting?
There's always next meet. You have more time, so you always have more time to progress. And I think that's especially with the younger guys. You know, young guys always want to go in the gym and start benching 500, 600 pounds, and you know that's not how it is. You gotta start somewhere, but you know, just know when you start at 200, work to 205. 210, 215, and you're going to take baby steps to get to where you need to go. But if you're consistent with those steps, you're going to get there. So
I think that's an important message for everything in life, and you know, and in particular with mental health as well. It applies to that. It's, you know, if you're struggling with something with your mental health, don't presume that you're just going to get better. Don't think, you know, I'm gonna go from this place where I'm feeling really shit and feeling bad, and then I'm just going to be fine. It's not as huge baby steps, isn't it? And the same way with weight training. You know, you're going to have little plateaus. You're going to have moments where you can't hit those numbers you could normally, and you're going to have to build back up again. And it's the same. It applies within kind of mental health training as well.
Exactly.
Okay. Last question.
Okay.
What advice would you give for aspiring strength athletes in order to deal with these upcoming mental struggles just within general of strength? So, you know, just the fact that, you know, what we were just talking about, you know, not being able to missing numbers, missing weights, you know, the large amounts of training, all the eating, all the sleeping, you know, how could you sum up your advice for someone who's like, you know, I really want to push?
My key advice for that would probably be communicate with all the people that are around you, like even the people that you know spot you in the gym, your coach. Communicate with people and double check everything too. Like I know people get all worked up about meets, and one thing I always say is record and look at what you did wrong, because there's a lot of things you can always fix without, you know, freaking yourself out, and it could be like the smallest little thing. So but also that communication with the people around you is gonna take you there. Because I mean, I talk to people that spot me, and you know, like, hey, how does that look? I have people in the gym like look at my depth or look at my, you know, my pause, like was it a good pause, and just like little things like that. And that communication can take it a long way.
I think you know, seeing a negative, although, you know, just by definition it's a bad thing because it's something wrong, but there's a lot of ways you can take positives out of that. You know, if you find something, again, I'm going to apply this kind of to kind of mental health as well. You know, if you find something, you know, a negative coping mechanism that you use, or some kind of negative way that you think, if you find that, that's great, because now you know what to do. Now you know where to go. Like people, I think we're all very scared of finding a weakness in our bench form or our squat form, or in the way that we cope with things. But actually, it's probably the best thing you can do, because if you find that,
if you don't know what your weaknesses are, then you don't know how to improve.
Exactly. And honestly, I think that's like one of the golden nuggets of life is, you know, we're all terrified of being wrong, but you know, being wrong is such an important part of getting better and improving and progressing in everything, you know, in being an elite athlete like yourself, or, you know, just trying to improve your mental health, or, you know, strive to have a better kind of psyche. Okay, well, thank you so much, TD, for this. Honestly, I've loved the conversation, and I think I can hear your son in the background, or I can hear some kind of kid.
Yeah, that's him.
So I'm going to let you go to him. So just to kind of sign off, can you give us kind of where people can find you. So social media tags, websites, etc. Just kind of reel them off.
My biggest thing is Instagram, TD Smash on Instagram, and I think my email's in there too. So contact me if you need anything. So
Cool. I will be linking everything down in the description for anyone who's watching or listening. And yeah, thank you everyone for listening. See ya.
See ya.